Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. If you haven't had a chance to watch the MindSpeak session with Professor Howard French, you must. And there is the presentation, and then that's followed by the Q&A session where we sort of disembarked from the China-Africa story, looked at it more closely, looked at China more closely, looked at the paramount leader. It's really great content and particularly relevant right now. And I thank Professor French and the Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism and the Columbia Global Centers for the support in putting that together. I'm halfway through his book, and that has also opened up my eyes because it's given me depth in terms of looking at the current situation. Really interesting. Political reflections, the identity of the tank man remains a mystery even after 30 years. An activist described him as symbolic, final act of defiance, the last tragic gesture in the Tiananmen protests. Images of the encounter became some of the most recognized photographs of the 20th century. What is extraordinary about this particular fact is that in China in particular, it's largely been erased from the collective memory. Howard, in his MindSpeak presentation, was talking about the instrumentalization of history. And I think this is an interesting juxtaposition. Trump lands to pomp and Twitter tirades. He loves pomp, doesn't he? While Mr. Trump was breaking all the diplomatic rules when it came to the politics, he basked in the immaculately choreographed pomp laid on by the House of Windsor, from tea at Clarence House to a state banquet at Buckingham Palace. Those looking for a presidential gaffe claimed that an awkward handshake with the monarch was actually an attempted fist bump, although it was later described by commentators as half handshake, half thumb war. And finally, Mr. Trump attended a state banquet at Buckingham Palace, a white tie occasion attended by around 170 guests dining off the silver gilt of the grand service made for King George IV. They ate, I always love these menus, halibut with watercress mousse, saddle of Windsor lamb, and strawberry sable with lemon verbena cream while listening to music from Handel, Copland, and West Side Story.